Where's the door hole? Goes right there. See, I drew it with a magic marker.
Thank you guys so much for voting for us. It means so much that you love our show. All alone, guess again, you've been on.
Attempted endangering children, felony of the 4th degree.
Guilty.
Disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, 1st degree misdemeanor.
Guilty.
I didn't invite her to my wedding, and the internet went crazy. And I want to like the guy that my name is attached to forever. But unfortunately, you know, it just sort of worked out the way that it did.
Went from being a successful Nickelodeon star with what looked like a promising music career to being charged with crimes against children, and now just being known as the guy who didn't get an invite to Josh Peck's wedding. Drake Bell started acting when he was 5 years old, but would catch his big break in The Amanda Show on Nickelodeon, where he was often featured in episodes. During this time is also when he'd meet his future co-star, Josh Peck. The two clearly had great acting chemistry together, and as soon as The Amanda Show ended, Drake and Josh had become a new, popular show in Nick. God, I miss old Nickelodeon. Drake and Josh was loved by millions, being consistently ranked as one of the top 10 most watched shows on cable TV each week. Although the show only lasted from 2004 to 2007, it gained quite a few accolades, winning a few Kids' Choice Awards, as well as Drake being a 3-time Favorite Television Actor award winner. Beyond acting at this time, Drake also pursued a career as a musician, and even had one of his songs featured on Drake and Josh, and often did performances on the show. He would go on to consistently release albums and even rank on Billboard charts. It seemed as though Drake had a promising acting and music career set up post Drake and Josh, however things did not turn out as one could have expected. Not everyone is guaranteed a successful career post-child acting on Nickelodeon or Disney, though there are a few cases. Once the show ended, the career paths of Drake and Josh were clearly very different. Josh went on to become a popular influencer, starting with becoming a Vine star, eventually collaborating with David Dobrik on many occasions, as well as creating content on his YouTube channel with roughly 3 million subscribers. Drake, on the other hand, took on numerous voice acting roles for cartoons and movies. He also had small roles in terrible movies you've probably never even heard of. And even though he consistently put out music for years and charted in the Billboard Top 200, he never really had that successful of a music career, selling only thousands of copies for each album, with no album released since 2014, none of them going platinum or gold. However, he would eventually rebrand himself as being a Spanish singer starting in 2020, in which he had gained momentum in Mexico, even moving there and changing his name to Drake Campana. He had become a huge star in Latin America, releasing more music purely in Spanish, performing in front of thousands of fans, and his Spanish songs outperforming his English songs in popularity. With such a drastic rebrand of music, you would just assume, oh, he's just trying something new. But I believe that this rebrand was meant to cover up his dark past. In 2014, Drake would file for bankruptcy. The house he bought was going into foreclosure, and he ended up owing $581,000 as a result. He was not able to make a consistent income to keep up with his expenses, and clearly the money from Nickelodeon did not last long. In 2016, he would then be convicted of his second DUI, his first in 2010. It was then, in August 2020, where Drake would be accused of abuse by ex-girlfriend Melissa Lingafelt. In a TikTok, she claimed that he verbally and physically abused her while they were together from 2006 to 2009. They started dating when she was 16 and he was 20. Just keep that in mind because that adds more context to the rest of this video. She would go on to say that the verbal abuse she endured was the worst type of verbal abuse you could ever imagine, and that it turned to physical, hitting, throwing, everything. Pinnacle of it, he drugged me down the stairs of our house, adding to her face every step hit as she went down. I don't even want to get into the underage girls thing. I mean I will, but I'm scared, she said at the end of the clip. Drake would go on to deny that the abuse even happened, but what else would he do? He says that he only helped her out financially and that they just called each other terrible names and that was it. His response would be, I do not know if today's behavior is some kind of misguided quest for more money or attention, but I cannot and will not allow these offensive and defamatory allegations to go unchallenged, and I'm reviewing my legal options. Another ex-girlfriend of Drake's, Peyton Lane, would support Melissa, saying that she also went through the same horrific verbal, physical, and mental abuse. Melissa would then provide proof, sharing photos of the physical abuse she suffered and DMs from other women who also had experiences with him. some of them even claiming that they were underage at the time of their interaction with Drake. Now we fast forward months later, November 2020, and Drake has his Spanish rebrand. It would then be in June 2021 when Drake is arrested and indicted on charges of attempted endangering children and disseminating matter harmful to juveniles. Basically what this means is that he engaged in an inappropriate chat with an underage kid that was sexual in nature. With this alleged incident taking place on December 1st, 2017, Drake would eventually plead guilty to attempted child endangerment, 4th-degree felony, and disseminating matter harmful to minors, a 1st-degree misdemeanor. He appeared via Zoom and pled guilty, and the judge accepted his guilty plea. He was set to be sentenced in July and faced up to 18 months in prison. But apparently his prison time isn't mandatory given the judge suspended the sentence, and he only has to perform 200 hours of community service while being on probation. As of 2022, he hasn't published any new music or music videos. He started a podcast with his wife known as Drake and Janet. I mean, how long are you really gonna milk this Drake and Josh theme? Come on. And that episode was published March of this year, in which they talked about the entire Drake and Josh wedding drama that Josh brought up, and how he brought up that they were never really friends, but they actually were friends, and it's just a whole mess that they brought up on the podcast. He hasn't published an episode since. The most recent sighting I could find of him was April of this year, in which he was spotted at a bar doing karaoke, supposedly, I guess. Seems like he's been keeping a low profile since he was charged with crimes against children in 2021. Although he only has 2 years of probation, it probably makes sense to just lie low regardless of what freedoms are limited. I mean, really, most scumbags on the internet lie low for a few months or years at a time before they decide to come back, as if nothing happened. What we all thought would have been a promising career for Drake Bell turned out to be a complete and utter flop. We could point to the fact that this is just how show business is, given not every Nickelodeon or Disney star is guaranteed a big break post-child acting. Though I believe that Drake's allegations and actions ultimately contributed to his downfall. And if what's been accused is true, then he deserves everything coming to him.